This has just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
It's fucking awful.
And is he dead?
Joe Rogan just dropped a bombshell about Erika Kirk. Nobody was prepared for it.
You had a bunch of, if you're gonna kill a guy, you had a bunch of other wacky shit that doesn't make any sense and you spam it out there at the same time.
Joe Rogan is reportedly raising eyebrows over growing tension between Erika and Charlie's parents. And it all centers on concerns about Erika's behavior since Charlie's passing. According to online chatter, Rogan has hinted that things behind the scenes are far more complicated than they appear. He's openly questioning details surrounding the situation and suggesting there may be unresolved issues that haven't been fully addressed. So what are Charlie's parents allegedly saying? Why is Joe Rogan casting doubt on the narrative? And how did Erika suddenly find herself caught in a controversy she can't seem to escape? Let's break down what's being claimed, what's speculation, and why this story keeps gaining momentum.
He set it up in a way that, like, okay, you're saying something that's actually factually inaccurate,
Right.
according to the narrative. Now, let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird shit going on with this.
I know.
Okay, let's talk about the situation surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. Because in the weeks since it happened, the internet hasn't stopped asking questions. A growing number of people online are pointing out what they believe are inconsistencies in the official account, and one of the most high-profile voices adding fuel to that discussion is, unsurprisingly, Joe Rogan. On a recent episode of his podcast, Rogan openly said that, from his perspective, the story just doesn't fully add up. He explained that when he looks at the timeline and the details that have been made public, the pieces don't seem to fit together cleanly. According to Rogan, a major part of the confusion keeps circling back to Charlie's widow, Erika Kirk. He spent a noticeable amount of time discussing her behavior in the aftermath, suggesting that certain things stood out to him and raised.
He said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not gonna fit.
Not gonna fit in the backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof? What? What's that about?
Is that what they pitched, huh?
Yeah.
This is exactly where Joe Rogan steps into the picture. And interestingly, he didn't start by attacking Erika or the family at all. Instead, Joe focused squarely on the official version of events itself. On his podcast, Rogan laid it out pretty plainly. Paraphrasing his words, he suggested that authorities may not even fully understand what happened yet. He said there was a strange feeling surrounding the case, something that didn't sit right. And then he began breaking down why. One of the first things he questioned was the weapon. According to the official report, the shooting involved an antique World War I era rifle. Joe immediately pushed back on that, arguing it didn't make sense. He pointed out that a weapon like that isn't something just anyone can pick up and use. It would require knowledge to reassemble, familiarity with how it functions, and enough skill to carry out an accurate attack. In his view, that alone raised serious questions. But then he moved on to something even more unsettling, the so-called decoy suspect. This was the individual who reportedly stood up at the scene and claimed responsibility, shouting, "I did it." That person was briefly detained only for authorities to later say the arrest was for unrelated charges. After that, the individual seemed to disappear entirely from the public narrative. That's when Joe made the comment that sent the internet into overdrive. He said the situation felt like something was being concealed, that the entire sequence of events didn't add up. With that single observation, the conversation shifted. Suddenly, the focus wasn't just on the shooting itself, it was on the investigation, the loose ends, and whether the full truth had actually been uncovered. And from that moment on, public attention began drifting away from the headline and straight toward the cracks beneath it.
He said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not gonna fit.
Not gonna fit in the backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof? What? What's that about?
Is that what they pitched, huh?
Yeah.
Once Joe Rogan's clip started circulating, the story split almost instantly into two very different paths. On one side, people began digging into the investigation itself, re-examining police statements, timelines, and the inconsistencies that had already raised eyebrows. But on the other side, the side that really took over social media, the spotlight shifted squarely onto Erika Kirk. Suddenly, everything about her was under scrutiny. Old clips from Charlie's memorial resurfaced. People dissected her calm demeanor, her speeches about continuing the mission, even her wardrobe choices. As always, the internet pulled out its invisible rulebook, comparing her behavior to a made-up standard of how a widow is supposed to grieve, as if loss follows a single script. That's when the whispers began. Online chatter claimed that Charlie's parents privately had concerns about Erika stepping into a leadership role at Turning Point, about finances, about how quickly everything seemed to move forward. To be clear, there were no official statements and no confirmed sources, just screenshots attributed to unnamed insiders and a growing wave of speculation. But in today's online climate, speculation alone can take on a life of its own. Then came the moment that truly ignited the internet. A screenshot that allegedly quoted Charlie's parents. The post claimed they had tried to warn their son about Erika before the marriage, saying they had noticed red flags related to her ambition and personality. One line in particular sent social media into overdrive. "We loved our son. We only wish he had seen what we saw." Whether real or not, the quote became fuel for countless breakdowns, reaction videos, and theories. From there, everything started to blur together. People began linking Joe Rogan's skepticism about the investigation, the sense that something didn't quite add up to these new rumors about Erika. The result was a tangled web, where questions about police work and personal speculation merged into one chaotic narrative. Meanwhile, as the online frenzy intensified, Erika herself stepped further into public view. Just weeks after Charlie's death, she was named CEO of Turning Point America. She appeared at events, hosted the organization's podcast, and spoke openly about continuing her husband's legacy. Some saw that as strength turning grief into purpose. Others viewed it with suspicion, interpreting it as a calculated power move wrapped in faith-driven language. What nearly everyone noticed, though, was her composure. She appeared calm, controlled, and deliberate. Every word, every outfit, every public appearance was recorded, clipped, and analyzed. And paradoxically, that steadiness became part of the controversy. People didn't understand it, so they projected their own assumptions onto it. One crucial detail often gets lost in the noise: Charlie's parents have remained publicly silent. No statements to the press, no public comments at the memorial, no posts addressing the investigation. That silence, intentional or not, has only fed speculation. Some interpret it as private grieving. Others see it as distrust. There's no proof either way. But in the digital age, silence itself often gets treated like a message. That's why the alleged screenshot resonated so deeply. It fit the narrative many had already created. And with Joe Rogan openly questioning the official story, the theories felt louder, more plausible to some audiences. Rogan isn't a journalist, but his influence rivals major news outlets. When he questions something, millions listen. Even cautious skepticism can amplify surrounding rumors, whether intended or not. So now the question becomes this: was Joe Rogan right to question the inconsistencies in the case? Or has social media stretched his comments into something far beyond their original intent? Has a moment of doubt turned into a viral storm that's overshadowing the facts? Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to check out our other videos to stay caught up on all the latest drama. Until next time, bye.